Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Brittany, and this is the NieR Automata Episode 3 breakdown. I'll go over any Easter eggs and lore that you may have missed in this episode. I'm going to be comparing the game and the books to the anime. I'll primarily be going over Route A and B for these videos from NieR Automata. I will also be taking a look at references from the Drakengard series as well as the NieR novelizations, and also NieR Replicant. So this is your spoil warning now. Before I get into episode 3, I want to backtrack to episode 2. I realized that the machines that were exploring the city and trying to grow flowers, that I believe is from the reference of a short story titled Small Flowers. It's in the novel Short Story Long. I only just finished that book this week, so I apologize that I missed that detail. But I believe that's where that whole scene originated from, was that short story. If you want to take a look at it, I recommend that book. Now, jumping into episode 3, they are discussing why maintenance units such as Devil and Popola are on these dangerous missions for the Resistance. The Resistance states that they are doing this of their own accord. When they get back to the camp, they talk about how their ally brought them the Goliath arm that helped sealed off their camp, which everyone who has played the game can guess who that ally is. Now, on the radio, there is 24B who is talking on the radio. Now, I couldn't find anything on her, which I could have sworn I read something about her previously somewhere, but I must have been hallucinating because I can't find anything on her. I know that in the game there is 22B, who is a part of the side quest YorHa Betrayers, but if anybody knows where 24B is referenced, let me know in the comments. 2B brings up that 9S doesn't need to be so formal. In the show, I believe now this is the 3rd time she's brought that up, but those of you who know, it's probably more than just 3 times that she's had to tell him this. The camp is much like the game. You go through the dialogue of meeting the merchants at the camp, and we can see some nice little Easter eggs here. The first thing that stuck out to me, of course, was one of my favorite little hussies, Kaine. You can see her weapon over there. Now, this will go into more of Drakengard 3 spoilers, just a heads up. The merchant in the game brings up that most of the weapons that are brought from a girl named Accord. She's even actually mentioned in NieR Replicant through Yona's journal. She is introduced in Drakengard 3. She's also an android that serves as the narrator of the story. She is said to have come from the old world to observe the events within the past. Accord's origins and her creator are still unknown. It is a mystery to why she was created and also why she was sent on her mission to record the events of the singularity known as Zero. She travels through time collecting weapons and giving them to the merchant in NieR Automata. Why? I don't know. And apparently also she's giving equipment to merchants in NieR Replicant too. The rest of the weapons that are shown is the Ancient Warlord, we got the Iron Will, and the Iron Will is in both NieR Automata and NieR Replicant. And then we come across this axe, which looks like the axe from Drakengard 1 called the Foul Blade, which in this case it's pretty cool seeing references across all of Yoko Taro's games. We finally get introduced to Jackass, who is in the anime one of the most unhinged characters, and I personally love it. I know she was shown in the game as a little odd, like how she gives you a fish to eat, and she wants to see what happens when you eat the fish, and as some of you may know, if you eat the fish, you will die, which is one of the many endings in NieR Automata. Now, the next scene jumps straight into the bunker, where we see the commander having a conversation with a couple of operators. And this conversation, it left me feeling not very fond of the commander. She acknowledges the fact that she didn't send 2B and 9S to help the Resistance. She states that YorHa soldiers are only to respond to the Council of Humanity. She states that if they answered every request, it would hold them back. And, ow. Talk about saying the quiet part out loud. Tell me how you really feel. She then also talks about how the Resistance is only fighting the machines individually. She also states that the Resistance's real problem is they don't have a chain of command, which is rich in my opinion, considering the Resistance was the first set of androids that was sent down to Earth, and who would be responsible for giving them a chain of command? Oh yeah, the Council of Humanity. But hey, what do I know? She only sent the YorHa down to see why the machines have been acting out of character lately. Recon missions run the risk of viruses, and the resistance is used as a decoy to buy time. Which, yet again, talk about saying the quiet parts out loud. Damn, woman. She reminds everybody that this is all done for the sake of mankind. This is a conversation that is hard to swallow, especially if you've read about the Pearl Harbor descent. It's not surprising, but still something not easy to listen to. The map Jackass is showing them is the same from the game. And then once they leave to go to the desert, Lily walks over to the music box and puts on some tunes. I thought this was a nice touch, considering the fact that she starts playing the song Memories of Dust. This scene is slightly different because in the game you go meet Jackass in the desert and then she blows up the path for 2B and 9S to continue their route. In the anime, she's taking them there herself, and after she blows up the path, Jackass will continue joining 2B and 9S on their adventure through the desert. 9S begins to admit that they aren't there to help the resistance, but then they're interrupted by an ambush of machines. The machines are wearing the same type of mask the Royals wore in the Facade region in NieR Replicant. Facade was a civilization of the masked people, and they were notorious for all of their rules that they had as well. You can find this city in the original NieR game or NieR Replicant. It was also confirmed that the desert area is former city of Facade, and that was confirmed in NieR Automata Route C. One big difference is the machines are now talking. They are attacking the androids by shouting out "help" or "save me." 9S dialogue is pretty much the same as the game, where he talks about the machines are just using buzzwords. They don't really know what it means. When 9S hacks the big machine, a door appears, and it's a hexadecimal code. And of course, I had to translate it. It states, "I promise love of the eternity." Once he opens the doors, we're back into the NieR Replicant world of Facade, when the king is marrying Thera, which now makes sense on why the door states that message. It's the king making the promise to love his queen. Now, there is a slight chance that this wedding scene may be a different generation of royals from the city of Facade, instead of Thera and the king that we know from NieR Replicant, but I highly doubt it. Even 9S is surprised at how in-depth these hackings are. He begins to question this hack from what he's seeing, but then he brushes it off. Now, Jackass notices that even the machines' faces, they're painted to match the masks of the people of Facade. I feel like this is more than likely due because the machines have such big heads that can't fit into those masks if they were able to find any of the masks. A large number of the citizens of Facade had masks that cover every part of their heads. You can't even see the color of their hair, so I doubt a machine's head could fit in these masks. Jackass brings back up the conversation on why 9S and 2B are there. She's not an idiot for sure. She knows the resistance is used more or less as shields. 9S tried to deny it, while 2B stayed quiet, but Jackass says that she will keep it a secret from Lily and the rest of the resistance, because what they need now more than ever is hope. A little machine pops up, like in the game, and tries to run away as soon as it sees that all its friends are dead and the androids are there. Jackass was very interested in the fact that the machine is learning on how to retreat, and so now Jackass is beginning to chase the machine. The majority of the next few scenes are similar to the game in where they discuss the apartment complex and how the humans used to live. They even come across the corpses of all of the androids, and they come across their android liaison that they were looking for in the pile of android corpses. Now, they come across what looks like to me a machine that's been trying to evolve to look like the androids for some time, because this machine looks like it was growing hair and some facial features. Then they proceed to go underground further. Now this part is slightly different on how they get underground. In the anime they get sucked into a quicksand, while in the game you're just exploring further underground. Once they get underground, we see what can be some of the most awkward scenes of the machines trying to replicate humans. Which, without stating the obvious, we could tell what part of the human activities they're trying to replicate. And when I watched this in both the anime and the game, I was shocked because I'm curious on where they learned some of this from. It's like, no, little robot, don't headbutt that. In the anime, 9S is shown as super annoyed at what the machines are doing, and he's ready to fight. In the book, 2B is also described as equally as disgusted by this scene. In the game and in the book, the machines also began to start attacking 2B and 9S, and 2B in the book is described as frustrated because the machines are attacking while saying phrases such as "I love you" or "let's stay together." In the episode, they just skipped that whole fight scene and jumped straight into the machines began freaking out and began to form the hive. And then that hive gives birth to what we know as Adam. Adam begins to fight 2B and 9S, but the anime makes quick work of him. But in the game and in the novel, it states how he was adapting to everything they throw at him. Once they defeat Adam, he begins to create Eve. Now, from the novel, A Long Story Short, how Adam and Eve got their names, the machines were looking at ways to defeat the androids. They thought, let's use humans who created the androids. But the problem was there are a lot of humans to choose from. The machines didn't know who to mimic, so they searched further and eventually came across the name Adam. He is the first human who was created by God, so humans created the androids, God created humans, and then Adam was created in the image of God. This was what was referenced and their reasoning for why they chose Adam. So the machines exhausted the power of their cores to create Adam, and when 2B and 9S defeated Adam, he searched in the network for who could protect him. The answer came to him in the name of Eve. Adam created Eve in that moment, and now once Eve was created, he was able to save Adam. And then he caused that cave that they were in to collapse, which led to 2B and 9S's escape. And with that, we've covered everything with this episode. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think of all this new lore that the creators are diving into? Do you like it or do you hate it? Let me know in the comments. See you around.